Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the video this week. First off, I want to thank you for everybody that's been checking out my last two videos. My first video I posted recently is almost at 1,000 views, which is amazing. So please share this video, like, and if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. My next big milestone, hopefully soon, is to have 50 subscribers. So thank you for all your support. So today's video is going to be about options. My last two videos have been about Arcade1Up specifically, but I thought today might be interesting for anybody out there that wants to build their own at-home arcade, that there are other options, and each one of the major three that I'm going to be talking about today really have some pros and cons depending on what you're looking for out of an arcade. So I thought that might be a good topic for today's discussion. Please feel free to comment below and let me know what you think, and let's check out the options. So let's talk about why I decided to make this my topic for this video. As you know, I recently talked in one of my previous videos about the reason I got the NBA Jam Arcade1Up, and it was because the Marvel pinball that I got from Arcade1Up got delayed. So in that video, I mentioned that I was going to be receiving my Marvel pinball in the next week, and I was super excited. Well, unfortunately, and many of you know, right, they got delayed again for most people. There were a few that ended up getting their Star Wars, and I've seen more people posting that they've gotten their Star Wars than the Marvel. So as of right now, it looks like I will be getting my Marvel pinball with an ETA around March 12th. So with that, I again looked at options to see what is coming out and what I might be interested in. Also in my previous video, I talked a lot about necessities for home arcade, and the biggest one being real estate, right? The more arcades you get, the more room they get and they take up. Now, I'm not really interested in ever getting to a point where I sell an arcade, right? Even though my Arcade1Ups have, just a few games on them, they all mean something to me. NBA Jam is the one we play the most right now. I play it with my kids. They love it. But I also, my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I will probably, even if I was to sell one, not sell that one. Nostalgia reasons, just what it means to me. I'm a big Turtles fan. I won't get rid of that one. So it's important for me to kind of look at my options, because in my head, I'm already finding a place for my Marvel pinball. So that got me looking at other options than Arcade1Up. And the main reason is most of the Arcade1Up cabinets only have a few games. And the ones they did announce that are coming out this year, they come out with, I think 12 to 15 games. But that's really not a lot when you're looking at, your office, your game room, your man cave, whatever you have that you're building it in, right? So that got me looking at options. So I want to start off by going over the one that I've been recently discussing with everybody, and that's Arcade1Up. So let's look at a little bit of what Arcade1Up represents, and if it is something that you're interested in, and then we'll check out the other two major options as well. And hopefully by the end of this video, what you'll really understand is it is a great time to be an enthusiast for home arcades, because competitors make the products better. And I think we'll be able to see that looking at our three major options, right? It really makes every company step up their game because there is some pretty stiff competition. Okay, everybody, so here's the first example of what we're going to talk about in terms of options you have through different companies for your home arcade needs. So this is the X-Men 4-player cab. This will have internet. It's going to have the live button similar to the NBA Jam. You're not able to reserve this to my knowledge right now, but you can see this is their website, and you can click notify me and put your email address in, and they will contact you when they have any availability updates. But this is an example of the Arcade1Up. As you can see from my previous videos, Arcade1Ups are 3/4 scale, so they're not full-size arcades by any means, but they are really, really nice. And you can see from the first line and first series they've had with Rampage and some cabs like that, they are really stepping up their game. So as you can see here, in the middle, instead of having all three titles on the front panel below the control sticks, they now have a fake coin door, which is something that fans have been asking for a long time, right? A lot of the people that buy Arcade1Ups buy them for nostalgia reasons, buy them because they want something as close to the original arcade as possible. So, this is a pretty good step up. Now, I have seen that there's two different versions for how this is going to play out, right? I believe for the X-Men cabinet, it's actually going to have a basically like a plastic cover on it to simulate a coin door. But then some of the other Evergreen models that's coming out, like the Capcom Evergreen model, is going to have more of like a sticker over it. But it is a step up, and you can see that they're really changing how they do things, on their presentation. So Arcade1Up, few points I'd like to make for this in case you're interested in Arcade1Up products. They focus more on the actual, replication of the original cabinets, minus the riser. So if you're not familiar with Arcade1Ups, you really want to play them sitting down if you play them outside of using the riser. The riser adds a few inches to get it more at waist height, and then they actually sell stools that you can use as well. I've had those in my previous videos as well, that will give you a nice comfortable position to play for long extended times. And most of the time you can get a stool that is also similar to the design of the cabinet. But this is Arcade1Up. They've definitely done a great job, in my opinion, focusing on quality versus quantity. And what I mean by that is, although they don't come out with cabinets, with hundreds of games, the games they do come out with, the licenses they have, the partnerships that they've made are really your big hitters, right? When you are selling a cabinet for $400 to $500, and there's only 3 games on there, it has to be a license that draws to the fans. And in my opinion, Arcade1Up has done a great job listening to customer feedback. So this is the Arcade1Up example. And like I said, so if I can give you 3 pros and 3 cons for each one. My pros for Arcade1Up is going to be they have a home run, in my opinion, with presentation. Right, these look fantastic in your game rooms. Secondly, I think they hit a home run with licensing, right? Burger Time, X-Men, Ninja Turtles, NBA Jam, their relationship with Marvel in general for Marvel superheroes, Marvel vs. Capcom. I think their licensing is just doing an outstanding job getting the titles that fans really want. And then third, I think it is, just their ability to put themselves out there and stay in contact with their customer base. John D's on several interviews, talking, delivering, answering questions, which I just think is a great thing to do, right? Engaging your customer base, especially the people that buy multiple cabinets, right? That's something that, you can't really put a price tag on in terms of just visibility and communication. Cons for Arcade1Up, you can literally, I have 3 cabinets at this time, which totals out 8 games. So in terms of real estate, 3 cabinets side by side, especially with NBA Jam and Ninja Turtles, which take up a little bit more room because they're 4-player cabs, that's a con, right? I wish that they could put out more games, and I know they're doing that with their Evergreen models, but at the same time, I wish that was more of a normal thing where you're getting multiple games. Or give us the ability to use the internet to maybe possibly buy downloadable game packs. At some point, I think Arcade1Up is going to have to address the fact that customers enjoy buying multiple cabs, and if they don't make the live a continuous option for these cabinets, it really limits their future, in my opinion, especially when you look at what their two major competitors are doing. So next up, we are going to look at games, specifically their Legends Ultimate cab, and kind of discuss the pros and cons of that cabinet. All right, everybody. So here is our next up option, and I haven't really talked about this one before. Super excited though, because my Marvel Pinball was delayed yet again. I have decided to add this one to my collection, and I'm happy to say that with confidence, I will most likely be able to put out a review of this cabinet within the next week or two, because I will be getting this very soon, and I've already got the FedEx tracking for it. So no delays, right? It will get to me. It's already en route. Super excited. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to bring this up. So there are some major pros to the Legends Ultimate that I would like to discuss today. First off, I think bang for your buck, right? In my opinion, this is like the Swiss Army knife of our home arcades right now, right? It's not even just an arcade. It's really referred to as a multi-cade. And as you can see from the front panel, there are numerous titles on this cabinet pre-installed, ready for you to play. They got some licenses from Lion King, Disney, right? Space Invaders, Star Wars, Tron, Tetris, Bubble Bubble, Asteroids, Aladdin. They even have the Fix-It Felix game based off of the movie for Wreck-It Ralph. So really, really cool cabinet. So let me get into a couple of things. First off, guys, I have noticed if you go to their website, it does cost $100 more to get it directly from them. Plus, you have to pay for shipping. I was able to get mine through Sam's Club. It was $100 less, and it comes with the pinball controls that will go on the side panel right next to the control deck that will let you play pinball games on this as well. So, I highly recommend, if you're going to get it, guys, get it through Sam's Club. Get it with the pinball controls. You save $100. It's less for shipping, and you get the pinball controls, which from what I was pricing, I think they run like $50 for that upgrade if you have a version without it. So what is the Legends Ultimate? It really is a multi-K that does three major benefits, and I'll discuss all three of those as pros. First off, it comes with 300. You heard me, 300 games already downloaded and installed. Once you put it together, ready to play. Now that's a pro. Here's the con to that, right? When we talked about Arcade1Up, we said, hey, they hit a home run with licensing. Right? They have the Marvel, they have the Ninja Turtles, they have the NBA Jam. When you look at the Legends Ultimate from the other reviews that I've seen on it, a lot of them, the games are from the Atari, and a lot of them are doubles, right? You'll get one specific game where you'll get the Atari version and the arcade version. So out of those 300 games, I'm really looking forward to reviewing it and seeing how many of those I would actually say, hey, these are worth playing. But when you do look at just quantity, 300 greatly outweighs Arcade1Up. That comes with, 2 to 4 games per cab most of the time. So that is the pro and the con mixed together. I don't think you can discuss the 300 games without discussing, the licensing and some of the non-excitement on some of the games in the cab. The second pro is bring your own game. So I'm very excited to play with this. So there is a paid membership, but also if you have a PC at your house locally, you can remote play apps like Steam onto the Legends Ultimate cabinet and be able to play any of your Steam games using the control panels that you have. And I think that's a tremendous thing, right? That right there destroys one of the biggest opportunities Arcade1Up has, right? And it's in terms of adding to your cabinet, right? And if you guys can see from my previous videos, I'm just getting into the home arcade scene. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to modding and stuff like that. So from a consumer standpoint of somebody that needs most of this done in advance, because I will not be spending a lot of time modding these, this machine gives me the ability to add a lot of life afterwards on this cabinet, which is pretty awesome. And then the third pro, guys, is it does allow you to use coin ops and add-on X, which will allow you to actually put in USBs and add more games yourself to the cabinet. And in that case, it can be anywhere from, you know, adding one game to adding thousands of games. So definitely want to research and look into, you know, how you can make that happen. But when you're looking at, you know, the biggest opportunity with these cabinets from a home arcade standpoint as real estate, I would recommend this cabinet to everyone, because this is going to help you fill those gaps of being more selective on what cabinets you bring into your house, because you'll be able to use this one to kind of be the stopgap for any other major titles that you want, because you can get those games added on and be more selective and choosy on what cabinet you want, because maybe Arcade1Up does come out with a cabinet that just really calls back to your childhood or just really hits that nostalgia factor. So cons for this one, and I'm going to say it's a con only because of what I've read up on it so far. Some people could look at it as a pro. They do have what's called ArcadeNet, which is essentially Netflix for arcade games, right? You're going to pay a flat fee every month to be able to get additional games that will rotate in and out, I believe, that you can play on your Legends Ultimate. You know, I think that if they would have maybe spent some time getting some of those other titles like Metal Slug onto the arcade, it would have just made the licensing a little better and some of the games stand out more. But I do think that they're looking this as a long term, right? They want to continue to grow their product. And if you want to grow a business nowadays, memberships, monthly reoccurring bills, I mean, that's just a way to continue to bring in revenue to your business. So I completely understand why they're doing it. So I won't pass a lot of judgment on it until I've actually played it and seen how worthwhile it is, and if I do decide to put up the money to get the monthly subscription. But as of right now, I'll call it a con instead of a pro, just because I really don't think with all the options I can get on here for free that I'll spend the additional money getting the ArcadeNet. But you know, I will leave that where it is right now until I make the decision and actually review the product. The other con that I think is worth mentioning for this system is the way that it is going to present itself in your arcade room, right? You know, I think there are some options that you can get, but if you're just looking at what you get from the box, it's not as pleasing to the eye as the Arcade1Up, right? Where they're focusing on making it look as close to the original as possible. The Legends Ultimate really focuses on trying to show you that it's a multi-cade. So again, I can't pass complete judgment until I see it in person. I don't think it looks bad necessarily, but I do think it definitely isn't able to compete with Arcade1Up's display, where people walk in and can be like, wow, man, that's an amazing looking X-Men cabinet that you have. Right? So I think that's something worth mentioning. So there's your opportunities for Legends Ultimate. Again, I'm really, really excited about this one because of all the different things it can do. And I cannot wait to really just get a hold of this and put out a review for you guys on what I think of the Legends Ultimate. But like I said, mine's coming this week. I'm super excited. And I definitely think this is something everyone should have in their collection because it helps you be more selective for any other future cabinets that you purchase. So now let's head over to our third and final option, which is the new kid on the block. Okay, everybody, so here is the third and final option. So this is the special edition Dragon's Lair from iiArcade. And this one is fairly new. Not a lot of people have this yet. This was a Kickstarter that was done by the CEO to try to get this out to the public. And now the people, I believe, that helped and assisted with the Kickstarter and helped fund the project, they were the first ones to get it. Now you have to go direct through the website for this. But this one is also a really cool concept. So first thing I want to show you that I think is a pro, and maybe not enthusiasts will agree with me, but one thing that I think, and if I can show you a side shot of it, right, this does not look like any type of arcade you would have had previously per se. I think they are trying to build their own brand, which I really respect, and they're trying to make something a little more modern. And as you can see, just looking at the product, right, you have the speakers up top. And for some of the reviews, I definitely recommend you guys check out YouTube for some reviews that's already out on this. But some of the reviews, those speakers are loud. Like, they are loud. They sound great. So you can see the design and overall cosmetics of the arcade look fantastic. It has a decent sized screen, 2-player actions. Now, one thing that I should have mentioned on the Arcade Legend that I didn't for the Arcade1Up and iiArcade is that one does come with the spinners and the ball in the middle, so you can play golf games, bowling games, things like that. The iiArcade is going to come with a 2-player setup with the joysticks and buttons. But what makes this one unique, all right, and I think it's very important. So this one is 128 gig special edition. iiArcade will come with a little over 10 games when you first purchase it pre-installed. But one of the pros to this one is it has better technology in it than the AtGames Legend Ultimate and the current Arcade1Up models. So it can play more modern games in it. I think that's definitely a pro. Second pro that I think is here for it is, even though it only comes with 12, there is going to be a legitimate store where you can purchase other games. And looking at the games right now listed, some are old school, some are more modern, some are arcade-ish, some are more console, and some of these have already released on like the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation Store, the Xbox Store. So you know, I think that's a great opportunity because with a live library and store to go to, they can have future releases. So it's more, this iiArcade feels more like a system than I would say the other two are going to feel like, for the simple fact that you're buying it at the entry level point with the expectation, and iiArcade is having that expectation that you will continue to purchase future games and build up your hard drive. And I gotta say, I'm really happy, right? 128 gigs, that's a significant amount of hard drive space, considering most of these older games are not going to take up a lot of memory. So I think by giving you a lot of memory up front, it's going to really help you keep a massive amount on. So I think that's a pro. And then the last pro that I think for this one is going to be its leadership. So their CEO, from some of the YouTube videos I've watched and interviews, you know, he seems to be very engaged in making a product that he's proud of, listening to customer feedback, and supporting people with any issues that they're having with the iiArcade. So seems like he has a tremendous amount of respect in the industry from the fans. And, you know, anytime you're going to purchase a product, you are supporting that company. So I think it just speaks volumes that a lot of these YouTubers that are out now, you know, invested in the Kickstarter and talk very fondly about this CEO. I think you know, the future is bright for this company if, you know, the CEO can continue to have that type of reputation. And I think leadership at that point is critical to the success of a company that's starting to grow from, you know, getting the products out from Kickstarter to growing into something more, right? If you look at Arcade1Up and how they started with their line, their first series, versus what, a little over 2 years later, how their company's set up and how they're branching out, building partnerships, right? So leadership and making those partnerships are critical. So this is the iiArcade, guys. Again, it is a multi-cade, and it doesn't allow as many things as the Legends Ultimate does. But it is going to have a live store for you to purchase on, and they can grow that store every time they build new partnerships. So what are the cons to the iiArcade? So this is going to be more expensive than the AtGames Legend Ultimate and most of the Arcade1Ups, if not all of them, right? I want to say this one runs about $800, so this one is going to cost the most. But hey, after some of the reviews I've seen for this, it's a really good product, like really good material that they're using for it, joysticks, buttons, speakers. So you're paying a little more, but you really got some high-end, manufacturing going on with this specific cabinet. So overall con as well for the iiArcade, I will say, is nostalgia, right? Because it looks so different, some of your old school enthusiasts that want to have an arcade in their house that mimics what they've seen in the past, this might not be for you. It's not going to be appealing to you when you look at it. It just might not be something that you're interested in. So I do think that this one might grow a little slower than some of the other arcade companies because of the fact that it looks so different. I personally think it looks awesome, and I'm all for looking towards the future and supporting a brand that is trying to think outside of the box. And I think by increasing their technology for newer games, for having an online store, the games range anywhere from like $2 or $3 up to, I think, 15 is the highest that I've seen on their store as of right now. I mean, that's very affordable to be able to purchase games on a regular basis and add to your collection. I'm interested to see if they're going to be able to make a lot more partnerships to try to get some more of these licenses. So those are the overall three companies that you can get for these. But now let's go to my final thought. Okay, everybody, that was our three options right now for our biggest three companies in the home arcade market, if you're looking at it. So hopefully these were some pretty good pros and con descriptions of all three, going over the differences of each one. And I'd be really interested if you feel free to comment below on which one you're extremely passionate about, which ones you already own, and what your pros and cons are for these home arcades as well. I did not go over the digital pinball, even though AtGames and Arcade1Up have both gotten into the pinball space, and they're coming out with their pinballs. So you could do some research on those, and hopefully when I get my Marvel pinball, I'll be able to do a review on that and let you know what I think. But today's video was primarily about the actual arcade cabinets and the differences between each. So in my closing final thoughts, the only thing I wanted to point out is, I think, and the way I look at it as a customer, as a fan, as somebody passionate and interested in this, I love it. I don't think you have to take one side or one preference over the other. Will you have a certain product you like more than the other products? Yes, but I highly recommend, taking some time to really think about all three of these products as something to add to your game room, because they all bring unique things to your game room. So, in my closing thoughts, I'll just say this: competition breeds, improvements. So I love the fact that there are three major companies right now for us as consumers to look at, and hope that that pushes some competition for each individual company to try to outdo the other and be better. Because when that happens, you know who benefits? We benefit. That's what happens. So I'm all for it. I've always had that same philosophy with PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, right? Hey, I prefer Sony the most, but I've always owned all three consoles, because at the end of the day, it's about the games. And if all three consoles are working towards exclusivity and, big first party wins for games, it benefits me as the consumer, because they're going to try to outdo each other. They're going to try to top each other. And at the end of the day, who gets to benefit from that? You do. I do, right? We all do. So do I think that the options that AtGames Legends Ultimate provides, or iiArcade provides, are going to push Arcade1Up into making more of an online presence with games and being able to build or add to it. I definitely hope that's what happens. And hopefully they'll see that as consumers, we really like those options and will work to putting those into their products in the future more often so we can start growing our Arcade1Up cabinets. Do I think that with all the partnerships that Arcade1Ups make with these major licensing games and titles is going to push at games and iiArcade to try to build those partnerships as well so they can get major titles? Absolutely. And you know who that benefits? It benefits us. So, in closing, that's what I think. I know that you can go on to YouTube videos and, there sometimes you can tell that there's specific products that are given or provided by, and sometimes that can, even though it's not biased, it can come off a little biased. I think that they're all great products, and some are going to fit your interests, some aren't. But at the same time, it always benefits, even if you only buy Arcade1Up, or you only buy At Games Legends, or you only buy iiArcade. Over time, if you continue to buy their products, still be happy that those other two competitors are there, because you're going to see upgrades and advancements in your preferred cabinet because of those competitors. So it benefits everybody. So those are my final thoughts, guys. Like I said at the beginning of the video, thank you for watching these. I really appreciate it. Please feel free to share these so more people can view it and let me know what you think in the comments below. Please feel free to like. I would appreciate that. And definitely subscribe so you can check out more content in the future that I put out. Hopefully my next will be the review of the At Games Legend Ultimate cabinet, and then after that, a review, please, in March, of my Arcade1Up Marble Pinball. So have a great day, guys. Thanks for checking out the channel, and until next time, game on.